trim. I wish I could too. Don't be shaping the wall yet. Get it full so it's even and tall and as wide.
Yeah.
Okay, so after we get the cylinder pulled with the round bottom, what do we do next? Color at the top. Why do we do that now? Because it's most stable now. Good. Okay. And we take this in how far? As far as we can and still be able to get our hand in. And we pull this a little thinner at the top because it thickened as I did that. A bubble there. Now what? Okay, now we go down on the inside to expand the side wall. Which rib do we use?
Round rib.
The round one, good. I didn't tell you that. But you watched on the board. That's very good. You're observant. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that. I put some water on the inside. You really don't need water on the outside because it's just going to get scraped right off anyway. But I'm going to lean this against the side wall and I'm going to push the wall out to meet that. Okay? So I gently push out and the wall moves out to the rib and then I bring the rib up and out. And that rib scrapes off the surface and defines the contour. See that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's making it thinner as it moves up. So I'm going to put a little more water on the inside. And again, the shape you want to define is the inside shape. The outside, we're going to trim to match the inside. So the inside is what we're after. Quit throwing things.
Charlie, did you read the audio?
Not yet.
Okay, so I'm going back down and I'm pushing it out a little farther. And I rotate this rib as I come up. I decide where the widest point is that I want. And then I bring it back in, the shoulder back in from that point up, okay? Just like that. So now we put a little water on here and we collar this in. Whoops, why does it ripple? Because one side is slightly thinner than the other. Now, as you're collaring this up, don't go in like this, go upwards as you move. That will allow you to collar it better. If it starts to ripple like that, put a little water inside and out and compress this, and that may help even it out so it's less likely to ripple. Let's try it again. Oh, so it's uneven. So what I'm going to have to do, now I don't want to puddle in the bottom of my bottle here. I do. I'm going to do one last pass up here to kind of even this out, make sure it's all the same, so it doesn't want to ripple anymore. Yeah, you see this? That'll do. Thank you.
Did you change your mind? What's happening?
Am I married to you? I sound like I'm married to you. That's the kind of comment my wife would make. My wife likes you. Yeah, it is. Thanks. Now, there are two ways to collar. There's the collaring that makes the wall thicker as you go in gradually like this. There's also a way of collaring where you push straight in with one finger, and that literally stretches the clay sideways, and it doesn't get thicker, it gets thinner. So you have to be a little bit careful. That technique works. Now, because this is a nice gradual curve, it's really quite stable. And as long as I maintain an arch here, I'm not in jeopardy. But if I get a concave surface, what happens? It can collapse in.
Yeah, but that one collapsed, but that would make a perfect saltable.
You see what this does? It tightens up. And this contour, after I've got that contour defined, I can come across this and rib this. And scrape off the slip. If the slip hangs on this surface, it soaks in and fatigues the clay. So I hold this rib here, I bring it up. This is the key to a nice contour. If you hold it steady, it will scrape off the wobbles or bumps, and it will scrape off the slip, and it will finish the pot. If you've got a wobble, hold this steady against it, and that will get rid of it. Works for me. It can work for you too. Okay, so I see a little dent right there. See that? I'm going to just gently go across that. These refining passes are what really clearly define the form. Okay, now I see down inside of there a little puddle of reflected water. So I hold this right above the opening and push down. Pick up that little puddle. Don't want any water sitting on that flat bottom because it will fatigue the clay, waterlog it, and it will crack as it dries. Now, somewhere in this upper third it needs to be an inch or less. As I get close here, these fingers get in the way of each other, so I reverse them like that. And for some reason they don't get in the way of each other anymore. Not sure why that happens, but it works. I can define this a little more. I can push this in with one finger. Bring this up to the top. Now that's not quite level. As you collar, it's not uncommon for you to have one little spot that maybe grabs, your clay grabs a finger a little more, and it may shift it so it's no longer centered, no longer level, no longer even. What? Nice try.
Mine was like short, like this tall, like big.
Okay, that's an inch or less. So that would qualify. Now we can do more than that if we want. We take that in a little more. We can tip this out a little more. We can have it go straight up. I mean, there are any number of things we can do. I'm going to chamois this. Rib this. You could even use the contour of the rib if you want to give you just the right curve. Now, someone's going to say to you, what good is that bottle? It won't even hold one flower. The point isn't to make it functional so much as it is to make it have a beautiful contour and develop the control regime. Okay? Now, probably the last thing you should do is take that in that last little bit. You should collar, you should chamois the ring first, and then lastly move that in, because there's a wobble there, and it could become exaggerated. And if you have a lot of friction, it can actually twist